I mean, New York City in the morning, you're walking through the park, you get the lake on the left. There's geese out in the lake squawking to each other. You've got the park itself, the beautiful skyscrapers with the lights on, dark blue sky. I mean, come on. How great is that? What's odd is that they haven't replaced the city bike stations on Central Park West. I mean, that's fine. I mean, frankly, it's probably a really good idea given that they're backed up against the sidewalk. So when you're yanking the bikes off or pushing them back in, most people will just ride their bike on the sidewalk until they get to a station, which is quite annoying, especially in this area where it is incredibly busy with subway entrances and exits, tourists, museums, the park. Still, though, the city almost has like a cold warmth to it, if that makes any sense. I mean, generally the mornings are quieter. Where we lived in San Francisco, it was much the same thing. Get up early and walk downtown. It's great to see all the delivery trucks doing their thing. Couriers up early on their bike. Just a good way to start the day. But this view of New York won't ever get old. I'll take a million pictures of this same view, 1,000,001, and I will still say it's one of the best views in New York. I will never get old of it, tired of it. Feels like I'm getting up too early these days for the sun to hit those buildings on Central Park West. Still a favorite. Still top two. But boy, this view. It's like the JP Morgan building, that new building, $3 billion. I think I said $2 billion earlier. $3 billion. It looks like it's lit up as it should be. I wonder what they're going to do during the holidays with like different lighting. You know how like the Empire State Building will light up blue and orange when the Mets win the World Series? Or that's the assumption. I wonder if they'll do the same thing. Because we can't really see the Empire State Building from here. So that might add just a little bit more flavor to the city, a little more spice. And I was just notified by my little friend in my left ear that we have crossed 370 miles of walking this year. Congratulations, everybody. I don't know where 370 miles will get us. We've been talking a little bit about leadership this week. Zuckerberg, in some respects, Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, and building a $3 billion bet that people will come back to the office, which seems silly. I think the headline I saw this week was that office vacancies in the city are going down fast. So I imagine he saw some sort of trend, especially giving his position and insights or access to insights. He probably saw the real estate investment trend, a couple of years ago and decided to invest. I have to imagine that's a 10-year plan that they built out. Even with Mamdani and everybody freaking out that the rich are going to leave the city, He's still putting that investment back into the city. Jamie Dimon, Mark Zuckerberg, and just his clown-like decisions, and probably even more so the leadership around him. I'm thinking more of like the board, stockholders, and at some point, somebody's going to have to make the decision that he's just not the right leader for that company going forward. And they're talking about all this Apple executive exodus. I mean, that seems healthy compared to what's going on at Meta. So Jamie Dimon, Mark Zuckerberg, and Mohamed Salah. Mo Salah, who plays for Liverpool, is a leader, a team leader, certainly a stats leader, but has basically thrown his entire team under the bus in his decision to, I don't know what his decision is, force the team's hand in selling him. Almost to say, like, you can't do well without me. Well, they went to Milan last night in the Champions League, and I think played probably one of their best complete games. Sure, it was a very soft penalty and terrific goal. It dims the standards of the Champions League. Which those rules have always fascinated me, especially in watching the English Premier League, which, quite frankly, those rules have always fascinated to me. And the video assistant referee I don't think has done anything any better. Anyway, so thinking about leadership this week, this is the time of the year that probably most shapes employment, labor, on a broad, organic view. Right? End of the year, normally the financials will come out for those organizations that are on a calendar year, fiscal year. In other words, their year end is December 31st. So they'll do all the reporting and see what their financial success looks like. That financial success then converts into bonuses based on some sort of structure that the company's laid out. Those bonuses are normally paid out at the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter.
Yeah, he does good.
And that's typically the way it works. Right? You make the announcements of your profit success at the end of the year. All the key players or the players, bonus eligible players, are then hauled into one-on-ones with their bosses to say, here's what your bonus is going to look like. Here's when it'll be paid out. Here's how it'll be paid out. There's usually no stipulations as far as labor goes at that point. Right? It's not like you have to be employed through the end of that following year in order to get your bonus. Rather, it's probably it is more impacted by when you started in that calendar year. So 2025, end of the year happens depending on when you started. If you were there for the full year, you get the full bonus. If you started in the second half of the year, you get half a bonus. Those kinds of things. But as far as like 2026, if you're unhappy, if you don't value the amount of work you put in or the bonus you're getting out, you're probably gonna look for another job. And then that circle goes round and round. Overall, that's just a positive thing. If people are unhappy with their work, leave. It's a good thing for them. It's a good thing for the business. And then replenish it with fresh talent. You see the same thing anywhere. You see it with Salah at Liverpool. he's unhappy with his playing time, how you went about it is ridiculous, then go find somewhere else where you're going to get the playing time that you feel you deserve. So I think what's fascinating is I worked for a company or two who had subjective bonuses. It was up to the founder, the CEO, usually the founder, who was usually the CEO. At the end of the year, he'd haul you into his office and say, hey, nice work. Here's what I'd like to see you do next year. Here's a bonus. And we're just going to pay it out right now. It'll be in your next paycheck end of the year. Which is great, right? Great timing. Makes you feel good going into the next year. Or not. The problem with that is it's subjective. So you never really have an idea of what the framework is to get you that amount of money. Always happy. That's what you're buying into, is that subjectivity. Not the subjectivity of whether there will be a bonus, because that's all based on finances. Rather, how much of that bonus you'll see. So probably expect a lot of change in employment over the next 3 months. I mean, you're in that role, you're in that leadership role for a reason. Morning.
Good morning.